refresh my memory because I don't remember.
This is where my client's mother was having like a heart failure.
Oh, that's right. Okay, so moms
EMS was called. He called EMS, right?
Wait, who?
To my client. His mom called.
She has a medical episode. They're trying to administer.
They're trying to get her to the gurney, and someone's trying to get to the side of the gurney and replace a family member, and then that EMS is grabbed by the arm by the defendant.
At the time, he was emotionally distressed due to his mom's medical emergency. It was more of a protective action. It wasn't any type of, there was no clear harm to the EMS. I mean, when we look at this.
Stop. Don't.
Okay, go ahead and sign.
You're saying he prevented an EMS worker from
performing their duties and getting to the gurney to assist the mother, because she was on the gurney, and while she was trying to replace a family member who was on the side of the gurney assisting to get her to the gurney, he grabbed the EMS worker instead, specifically, don't fucking, until the officer pulled him away. He was holding the person until pulled away by the officer, and he said, don't, and then the officer grabbed him and took him to the patrol vehicle. So he was grabbing onto the EMS worker as she was trying to assist her.
I think that statement was based off of a little bit of confusion and frustration. It wasn't his intention to like impede
And
on the medical assistance.
in this case, that impediment would be grabbing the EMS, so she couldn't, or the EMS responder couldn't perform their duties, because at the time the defendant had grabbed their arm.
what was EMS? What were they trying to do?
So according to the DIMS, it says EMS responder tried to replace the family member that was assisting on the left side of the defendant's mother. So they were trying to take that position.
Okay, right.
So they're trying to assist the mother who was on the gurney. And that's whenever they couldn't do that.
Keep going.
And then it says the defendant proceeded to grab EMS responder's right arm and stated, don't fucking. Before the defendant could finish, the officer used an open hand technique to separate the defendant from the EMS responder.
But do you believe that arise to a clear threat? Or I think there was a lot of confusion because it seemed like two of his family members.
What is the intent of what he is trying to do?
So
is he
backstory to this? Because which he can explain as well, because it's a bit confusing, but
we really can't get into that.
yeah, I know I can't get into the
thing
backstory.
is he really trying to impede? Is he trying to help?
He was trying to, so his situation was trying to help because in a way he felt like they weren't trying to assist in the way in which they were called to assist. So it was more confusion because based off of what my client's telling me as far as these facts
You're wrong.
that are stated.
As pled, it's through criminal negligence that it's just disrupting or impeding. And in this case, it was because the EMS could not replace that family member to get to the mother who was on the gurney, because at the time she had her arm grabbed by the defendant. So whether or not he intentionally was trying to impede is not the question, it's whether or not there was that impediment due to some criminal negligence. In this case, there was.
But what would you define as a criminal negligence?
He should have known that they were trying to do their duty and not to get involved.
And is it a public official? Is it a...
And allow me to pull up the information again. And as pled and reflected in the statute, the person employed to provide emergency medical services, including the transportation of ill and injured persons. So in this case, it was the transportation of injured persons.
Can we, because I would definitely like to put everything together with the facts by watching because obviously there's camera to show exactly what happened, right?
I can see it.
Wasn't there dash cam?
Do you want to delay it a couple
Yeah.
days?
There's a lot of
done.
videos. Yeah,
There's a lot of videos. So I can look at the videos and then put the pieces together to see whether, to see his clear intentions.
Pick a day later this week and we can have a problem.
Okay. He does need bond conditions, though, Your Honor.
I wasn't going to put any conditions on.
Okay,
I mean,
that's fine. Well, that's fine for me and my client. I just wanted to, that's what he's waiting for.
Okay.
Thank you.
So upon watching the video, I agree with, it's not really clear. It's all happening at once, where you see one moment the defendant lunge forward but block. You can't see what he does, and then officers grab him immediately. So you really can't see the grab that the officer says in the OR that occurred. but in the OR, it says there was that grab, and that's why they grabbed him back. So
It's not there, it's not there.
It's not there.
you just can't see. It's not saying it's not there. It's just that you can't see it on video. It's obscure. There's people in the way because
So I guess my theory from reading the notes is that when the whole situation was happening with his mother, the gurney was left outside of the house. So the EMS never came inside the house. They were asking the son who opened the door the mother has to walk outside. And he was like, my mother can't walk outside because she's having trouble breathing. Mom eventually comes outside, gets on the stretcher. The stretcher is then taken into the ambulance. The son is running after the stretcher because they're trying to make sure that their mom is fine. What the commotion that arises is that, for me, I feel like nobody knew who exactly pushed who, but it's more of an emergency situation about a child caring for his mom who's having a serious medical issue.
I mean, times like this, when you have a medical emergency, right, it's always chaos. I mean, there's chaos ensues, right? Is he really trying to prevent an EMS person from doing their job?
See, look at the totality of the facts. It's like, how are you supposed to, how is he trying to prevent someone from doing their job when all he's trying to do is make sure that he's helping his mother, who they said, hey, we're not going to come in the house to even bring you in.
So he pull the arm off?
according to the officer, he just grabbed it, and the officer grabbed him at that point. So the reason why it's not really clear how quick it happened. On the video, it looks pretty quick because the officers grabbed him immediately.
But the issue is that the officers arrive at the scene when there is already an incident occurring. They don't know, the officer can't state what happened initially.
Right, but the issue here is that as it's played, it's like the grab of the arm is that interruption or just disruption of the EMS trying to get the mother onto the gurney. And it's not necessary that the defendant intended to do that. It's just that there was that
It's
disruption.
a specific intent crime, so he has to specifically intend to interfere with the duty of that person, of the performance and exercise of what the official is trying to do. That's what he's charged with, right?
Respectfully, this is like criminal negligence. There's no intentionally knowingly requirement for this. It's just that a disruption occurred through the defendant's actions with criminal negligence. So in this case, he grabbed the EMS, and the negligence would be that a reasonable person should have known not to do that, and that therefore resulted in the disruption of the EMS trying to perform their duty.
But the negligence also didn't pose a serious harm or threat. Like the EMS didn't appear to be threatened. I just don't think it's enough. I mean, even if they were to give us an offer, if we take this case literally to trial, the mom is going to testify as to what happened, including the brother and the dad, because they were also witnesses, which I spoke to all of them. I mean, I'm saying are we going to drag it? Because I just don't see it.
Thank you.
Our position would be that there's enough to move the case forward with probable cause. Whether there's issues for trial is another
I
issue.
mean, in that sense, he's right. I mean,
Yeah.
it's just a probable cause hearing. Is there enough to move forward? Because it's a very low burden, right? Yes, I agree with you. Is it enough to find someone beyond a reasonable doubt guilty? Perhaps not.
And I'm also basing my arguments as what is actually the evidence that we currently have to kind of figure out the confusion on what actually happened that night. And you know, not clear at all, which
It is not clear. So, and really, our reliance is on the sworn statement by the officer in the DIMS.
So let's look up, because it says here, by grabbing EMS responders' right arm, interrupt, disrupt, impede, and interfere with Sanders, a person employed to provide emergency medical services, including the transportation. I'm sorry, this is what I'm looking at. Did then and there unlawfully with criminal negligence. What does criminal negligence mean? Let's look it up.
Yes, Judge.
The defendant should have been aware of a substantial and unjustifiable risk of harm is there substantial and unjustifiable risk of harm in this case?
One moment, Your Honor. Let me.
The risk must be so significant that it's a gross deviation from what a reasonable person would do.
I mean, I'm gonna argue that if he was briefly grabbing the responder's arm, it does not create substantial or unjustifiable risk of harm. Meaning the fact that due to the nature of the situation, he was acting emotionally.
And Your Honor, if we're going to go that, I'd respectfully ask for maybe 5 minutes to look in case law and see.
Take your time. There's no.
Yes, Judge.
Yeah, absolutely. There's no rush here. I mean, we got,
Yes, Judge. And I respect 5 to 10 minutes and just to look at.
absolutely.
Yes,
Take your
Judge.
time. Okay. Once and for all.
Yes, Judge. And after reviewing the video and reading case law where there's a case Duncan Tell v. State where they describe it as essentially shutting down, even we looked at it, we don't see that.
Okay, I'm gonna find no problem.
Yes,
with
Judge.
this. All right.
Yes, Judge.
All right.
Your Honor.
Good job.
Thank you. Thank you.
And I'm gonna tell you, look, from what I read, I was looking at that case law as well too, and it said the gross deviation is such that like there was a guy who had a trailer, right? Who didn't put chains on the trailer. The trailer detached. It was a homemade trailer. It detached and it killed someone. That's a gross
That's why I
deviation. You know what I mean?
Video and it was just
Yeah.
very brief. Yes, Judge.
We have enough cases.
Yes, Judge. Mhm.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you, Judge.
Good job.
Thank you.